We're all swimming in this ocean of information, right? We've got spreadsheets, survey results, interviews, but the real trick isn't just getting all that data. The real magic is turning that raw stuff into a genuine game-changing insight. Today, we're going to build that bridge, the one that takes you from just having data to actually understanding what it means. So let's jump right in. And this, right here, this is the big question, isn't it? How do you take a bunch of numbers and words on a page and uncover the story, the pattern, the big idea that can actually help you make a decision? Well, that transformation from all that noise into a clear signal, that's exactly what we're going to break down. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to lay the foundation, talk about why you need to be able to trust your research in the first place. Then we'll get into the numbers with some key quantitative tools. After that, we'll switch gears and explore the world of qualitative insights, finding meaning in the stories. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a handy toolkit you can take with you. All right, first things first, before you even think about running a calculation or analyzing a single comment, you have to know that your research is built on solid ground. Because without that, any insight you think you found, well, it's just a house of cards waiting to fall over. And that solid ground is built on two concepts that you absolutely have to get: reliability and validity. Now, these aren't just fancy words for academics. Think of them as the gatekeepers that decide whether your work means something or nothing at all. Let's break this down. It's actually pretty simple if you think about an archer. Imagine someone shoots a bunch of arrows and they all hit the same spot on the target, but way off to the left. That's reliability. You're getting a consistent result, even if it's consistently the wrong one. Now, what if the arrows are all over the place? That's neither reliable nor valid. The goal, the sweet spot, is when the arrows are clustered right in the bullseye. That's when you have both consistency and accuracy. That's what we're aiming for. Okay, so once we're confident that we have data we can actually trust, it's time to start digging in. And we're going to start with the numbers. This is the world of quantitative analysis, and it's the engine behind so much, from marketing to science. So let's crack open this toolkit, shall we? We're going to look at 4 fundamental tools today. The best way to think about them is like different lenses for your camera. Each one helps you look at your data in a very specific way to answer a very specific kind of question. First up is demographic analysis. You've got to start here. It answers the most basic but most important question. Who are we even talking about? I mean, without knowing the age, the location, or other key traits of your audience, all your other findings are just kind of floating in a void. This gives them context. Next, we've got a technique called comparing mean. This is where things get really practical. It helps you answer questions like, hey, did our new ad campaign actually do better than the old one, or was that little bump we saw just a random fluke? This tool helps you separate a real significant difference from just plain old coincidence. Then we have correlation. Now this one is super powerful, but it comes with a big flashing warning sign. It can show you that two things are related, like say ice cream sales and sunscreen sales both go up in the summer. But, and this is crucial, it does not prove that one causes the other. It just shows there's a connection. And that brings us to regression. Now this is a seriously powerful tool. If correlation just shows you a connection, regression helps you model it and even predict what might happen next. It's designed to answer those amazing what-if questions, like if we boost our ad budget by 10%, how much can we realistically expect our sales to go up? It's a game changer for planning. But hey, analysis isn't all about numbers, right? Some of the deepest, richest insights are hidden in words, in interviews, in open-ended survey answers, in focus groups. So how in the world do you analyze that stuff? This quote right here, it perfectly sums up the whole philosophy. It's basically the reverse of what you probably learned in science class. Instead of starting with a hypothesis and trying to prove it, you start with nothing but the raw data, the interview transcripts, the observations, and you let the theory bubble up from it. And this whole approach has a name: grounded theory. It's pretty literal, actually. The theory is literally grounded in the data you've gathered. You're not forcing your ideas onto the data, you're letting the data tell you what the big ideas are. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, you can really break it down into 3 basic steps. First, you just gather up all your data, all those interviews and notes. Second, you go through it with a fine-tooth comb, highlighting and labeling, or coding, all the recurring themes and patterns you see. And finally, you start piecing those codes together to build your theory from the ground up. Okay, phew. We have covered a lot of ground here. from number crunching tools to deep qualitative theories. So let's bring it all home and pack this into a final, practical toolkit that you can use on your very next project.
So here's the bottom line. Number one, always start with that foundation of reliability and validity. Don't skip it. Number two, use your quantitative tools to get a handle on the what and how much in your numbers. And finally, number three, bring in qualitative methods like grounded theory to discover the why, the deep, human story hiding behind all that data.
So we've walked through the tools, we've laid out the framework. Data isn't just a boring collection of facts. It's full of untold stories that are just waiting for someone to find them. The only question left is, what story is hiding in your data?